Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed and boy holler. I just said that. I don't know why I said that, but boy holler, I am deep into learning this game called, let's see if the box is easy to see on screen, Lignum. Lignum is a once out of print game that has now been returned to print by Capstone Games. I don't know who the original publisher was. No clue. But it's been on print for quite a while, and it just came back into print at Origins, and I picked it up. And I picked it up for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is a very heavy game, meaning that there's a lot going on. There's a lot of rules, not necessarily rules, but there's a lot of intense planning in order to execute your strategy properly. Lignum being, I think that's like Latin for wood or lumber. This game is about wood. So that's the second reason I picked it up. In my younger years, when I first got into the hobby of board gaming, I absolutely loved deep, heavy games. I love to sit here and read. You know, this thing has 19 pages of rules and figure out all these intricate mechanisms and study how they interact with each other. And that's part of the reason why I loved designing games. Or I still love designing games. But as I aged with my friends that we used to play together with on Wednesdays, it was just like a group of like 4 or 5 of us that would get together. We started to kind of drift towards playing just easier games that don't take very long to play. You know, this is a 2-hour game probably. Our first game session might even be longer. And we started drifting towards playing light card games and just more fun type stuff, because for us it became about spending time with each other, not so much the competition of the game or the depth of the game. Well, I've missed that. And with the new gaming group, it's been a few years with them, starting to get back into playing heavier, meatier games. And so when I heard this game was back in print and it's about woodworking, well, not necessarily woodworking, but it's about wood, I knew I had to have it. So I bought it. One of the few games I've ever bought in the last decade. I don't buy games. Normally I trade for them. So I'm really excited about it. But the thing is, this got 19 pages of rules, and I'm a very visual learner. I have learned that over the years, that when it comes to learning something like this, I have to have it in front of me. I can't just read these rules and then dive into the game. It doesn't work for me that way. Now, I have really good reading comprehension skills. I'm not gonna lie. I think, at least, that I have excellent reading comprehension skills. But there's something different when it comes to reading a game manual that I have to go through to find where the bits fall on the board, or what the cards do, or how this board interacts with the main board, or how my pieces move around the board, without being able to visually see that happen. I have a really hard time understanding. And, you know, in the rules, typically in board game rules nowadays, there's lots of visual examples. They put in tons of little samples and examples about how things move about, and that's great, and it's a really good reference. But until I've got this stuff sitting down in front of me, it's really hard to understand exactly what's going on. For instance, in these rules, it says that my little woodcutters here are supposed to be green. Well, mine are purple, so automatically I open the bag and I'm like, where's my green guys? What do these purple guys do? Oh, I know what these things do, but I don't know what, you know, and so I had to figure that out. Or for instance, there's all these little tokens that get scattered around the board. Well, they don't get scattered. They get methodically placed. And in the rules, it shows you picking these things out and then putting them. But you kind of have to figure out how to put them on the board by shuffling them. It's not just placed in this order or any such thing. There's one particular instance in this rule book that was extremely annoyingly written. Let's see. Where is the setup? I'll read it to you because it kind of had me going a little crazy. Separate the various cards by type and then shuffle them separately and put each deck face down next to the game board. Okay, so we have task cards, we have placement cards, we have planned work cards, and so these all get shuffled and placed face down. And then it goes into, okay, do this with these cards and this with these cards. So place 3, and so then you go, Oh, so it says shuffle the... Okay, hold on. Separate the various cards, blah, blah, blah. The exception is the lone cards. That's these guys. They go with the 4-7 side face up. Then it goes back and it has you shuffle the winner deck and do this. Shuffle the 19 task cards, do this. Shuffle the thing here and do this. Like, why did I shuffle these and put them down in order to pick them back up, shuffle them, and do something else with them? That's a completely superfluous step. And I stumbled on it. Like, I had to go back. Like, why am I doing this to do this? Am I doing something wrong? And without having the board in front of me, without looking and seeing, oh, okay, this space is for tasks, this space is for play, it doesn't click. And, you know, the examples, I could have dug back and forth and tried to figure it out. But, man, stuff like that just doesn't click for me. And maybe I've always kind of been that way. I don't want to say maybe I've always been. I know I've always been that way. I've always been a spatial learner. I've always been a hands-on learner. I'm much more acute at learning when I can see the pieces, when I can touch and move them. You know, I play a lot of digital games, and I don't play a lot of digital board games. And the reason is I play those digital board games in real life, and I have a certain affinity for them because I get to visually see pieces moving. I get to visually see cards being dealt or picked up, and whose hand that card went to. I'm spatially aware of everything that's happening at the table. When you put that in an app and a person clicks and now they have an extra card in their hand, I can't track that like I can sitting at a table, and I become confused and disoriented, which is frustrating because I have that personality of, if I don't feel like I played to my best, I get really frustrated. Doesn't necessarily mean that I win. I very rarely win. But if I feel like I played poorly, then I have a problem playing it. And for me, on the digital app side, the interface gets in the way, again, because I can't physically touch and feel and smell and see things moving around. It's basically a handicap. Like so I just don't play them because, you know, there are a few that I can play solo, and so I'll do that. But for the most part, I have to have stuff in my hands. So, Lignum, what I'll do in a case of a big game like this, 19 pages of rules, lots of intricate moving pieces, you have to go, essentially, the way the game plays out is you have some workers at the start of the game, you have a guy, you have a little bit of money, and there's a forest. And now we're going to go log this forest, turn those logs into things so that we can sell to buy more workers, buy more tools to log more, essentially, you know, building a logging empire. The game starts with nothing but firewood in play. Eventually there'll be hardwoods and softwoods and firewoods all together, and you'll have to log different types of woods to make more valuable furniture or whatever it might be that you're trying to sell. There's also these tasks that you can find that are like, you know, gather 2 hardwood to get 10 money. So if you can complete tasks, then you can make more money. But in order to do that, you're going to have to log the correct wood. You're going to have to turn that correct wood into something with your lumber, you know, with your sawmill here. And so there's all this little bits and pieces. You know, this is essentially a simulation game of a logging industry, you know, if it was done in an Excel spreadsheet. That's kind of a joke in the board game world when you play these heavy games like this. It's like, oh, I'm playing a spreadsheet game. Not really. No, this one actually has some really interesting interaction in the way that we play. For instance, let me show you the board just to give you a little taste of it. You can tell that I'm totally prepared for these shows when I shoot them, huh? It's like, yeah, Chevee knows what he's doing. So the board is made up of a bunch of spaces, starting here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 20 is the last space. And so what's going to happen is on your turn, you're going to move your little doodad over. So, you know, I say I go first because I'm always white. I move over and I do this thing. And so I get this in my supply or whatever it is. Or maybe I needed a saw, so I stop and get this saw. And then maybe next turn, I don't want to do this other stuff, so I'll skip ahead to here because I really need this dollar. And then maybe I'll skip to here. And obviously, only one person can be on these spots that have just one space, whereas multiple people can be on these. And so there's a little bit of interaction in how you move your piece about that you can block people from doing stuff that they want to do. And the first person to come off the clearing, we'll start the logging round, and we'll begin the starting player for next round. So that's pretty cool. And a lot of times mechanics like that are what make the difference between something like a solitaire spreadsheet style game where you're just trying to fill in the dots to get the most money and be the victor. This has a little bit more player interaction, has a little bit of social deduction. On the board, there's 6 foresting regions, and you kind of have to pick one and secret that you're going to go after that round, and then everybody reveals. I love that sort of mechanic, because it's like I'm trying to guess where, okay, well, he's going to try to go for the hardwood to complete this card. Maybe I'll let him have it, and I'll go take the softwood, or I'll go get the firewood, because I might be able to get a bigger payout out of that. So we're trying to second guess each other, like, all right, I'm going here this time. Fun mechanics like that. But again, this is a big, heavy game, and I started working on it last night, teaching myself. I'm going to continue working on it tonight so that I can be prepared for game night, because I really do want to teach this at game night. But I'm just curious to know, how do you learn? Are you like me? Do you learn this way? Do you have to set the thing up and figure it out? Or can you just read the rulebook and dive right in? I know people who can read the rulebook and dive right in, and usually when I'm going to play a game like this, I will forward them the rulebook and ask them to read it and teach me. But this time, I'm investing my time and energy into learning this game so that I can teach it. So thank you guys for being here as always. I really do appreciate you. I hope you love my content. If you do, please don't forget, down there is the subscribe button. Hit that. Come back tomorrow and see what we talk about tomorrow, because it's always something different. Sometimes it's board games, sometimes it's tools. Who knows? If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. Please interact somehow. We have a call-in line, 304-602-7433. You can call in, leave me a voicemail. I'll play it on the show and respond to you. I absolutely love voicemails. We also have a postcard collection going. I will have that up on the website soon. You can send me stuff to P.O. Box 8023, Fairmont, West Virginia 26555, address below. Or you can just send me an email, chevee@theeliteshed.com. I love hearing from you every single day. Obviously, the easiest way is to just leave a comment. Thank you for stopping by. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from Wikipedia. What does ipso facto mean? Ipso facto is a Latin phrase directly translated as by the fact itself, which means that a certain phenomenon is a direct consequence, a resultant effect of the action in question, instead of being brought about by a previous action. It is a term of art used in philosophy, law, and science. Huh. You know, I've used that term many times in my life, and I've never fully understood it until now.